Welcome to the house that Ross built. It's been a minute. We want to cover a couple things. We're gonna do the health called the health business checkup. A lot of people are, as far as business is concerned, struggling. You got government shutdowns. You got economy bad. Political unrest, all that type of stuff, and we cover that a lot. But today we want to talk more about the health of the business checkup. So, what are some things that you can do? I've been talking to a lot of people where they have startups. They've been in business for a while. Business is slow. Heck, I have several properties that I haven't been able to sell yet. The economy is slow right now. It's changing, and if you have a business or you're starting a business, you got probably some challenges. So let's talk a little bit about that. First thing, as I always tell people, is it's normal, right? It's normal to have challenges in your business, normal to struggle, normal to have times where business is not going well. It's normal, it's normal, it's normal. Anytime that I have a issue business wise, I just look at the whole situation and I say, you know, what what can I change? What can I do better? So on and so forth. But just to realize that, some of those hiccups are just a part of business, a part of being a person, an entrepreneur, that type of thing. And what comes along with that is reading, right? I read a lot, and I read about a lot of entrepreneurs that went through the same things I did, a lot of times worse, or some of the things that you're going through, money issues, issues with employees, economy's bad, something you can't control. So when you're reading, read a lot. We talk about reading a lot. When you're reading a lot from other successful people that went through the same thing, first of all, it makes you realize it as normal. Second of all, it also helps you understand that, hey, you can get through it. You can get through it. Just listen to some certain things that other people have went through, and then you can get through it too. Secondly, outside of the reading, you always want to have your affirmations every day. You have your affirmations. When you have your affirmations, it actually motivates you. What things that you're working on becoming, that you are becoming, all those things, whether times are good or bad, it makes you feel better in your spirit. It gives you um, raises your sense of focus, raises your sense of your level of ambition, so always work on the affirmations, always do affirmations, especially you have to do more of them when you're having a hard time, right? Because you got all the negative around you. And that negative, it actually makes your situation worse. So you always want to, put back into your mind positive. That also goes along with the reading. You're putting stuff back into your head, into your mind that's positive versus the negative, right? Also, meditate. A lot of people, they don't talk about that, and I don't mean meditate in the sense that you know you have to be all official with it and all that, with a mat and all that. I'm not talking about that. I'm saying, spend some time by yourself, whether it's in the morning, after you read, or when you're grabbing a cup of coffee. Spend some time by yourself with your thoughts. Think things through. Think about, based on what you're trying to accomplish, how that looks down the road. Instead of focusing on what's going on right now, you can look on, the future, and that always helps you, make things a little easier, a little smoother. Now, it's never going to be, super easy when you're going through tough times. But like I said, some of these things that we're talking about today will help you, get through them a little better without, walking around moping and stuff all the time. Because again, it's normal. It's normal when you're getting started and you haven't faced a lot of issues. You never had a business before. You think maybe something's wrong with you. It's tough because you've never been through it before. You've never seen it before. But again, we all go through that. We all go through that. A couple other things, like I said, outside of spending some time by yourself, spending some time with your thoughts, even if that's a regular basis, exercise. Exercise is important. It can just be a walk, during lunch or something like that. But get that exercise in. That helps relieve stress, helps your heart to get to flowing. That 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 part of it, the health also helps you, be able to cope with things a little better. If you're not feeling well, you're sick, you're tired and stuff all the time, and you're not and you're having a hard time, that makes it worse. So you definitely want to get some exercise in. Like I said, don't have to be a whole lot, just something to get your body moving, heart beating. So, those are some of the things that I do. Also, make sure you get plenty of rest. That's important. As entrepreneurs, as business owners, we don't rest a lot. We're always going, we're always doing things, but rest, even if it's some, You pull over one day and you take a nap in the car for 30 minutes. You'd be surprised how much that refreshes you. I do it. I do it often, especially when I have long days in the early mornings, and you're out all night in the evenings. You know, Coffee's cool. Energy drinks are cool. I do all of that too. But, to be able to pull over if you're just exhausted and take a 20, 30-minute power nap, you'd be surprised. You should try it. You'd be surprised how you wake up a lot more energized and you get through the rest of your day. You can finish strong. That's one that you're not going to hear a lot about, taking a nap. You think naps are for little kids, but actually naps help rejuvenate you when your body is tired, right? You're exhausted because you're doing so much, and that can just be mentally, right? And if you don't need to take a nap, just pull over side of the road, not side of the road, pull over at a park, um, you know, shopping center in the back or something, and just relax for a minute. Take your mind off whatever it's on, whatever the day is bringing you. Take it off for 20, 30 minutes. If it's not a nap, then just think. Maybe turn the radio on. Have time to just you know, with your own thoughts and not think about the issues, right? Just again, think about something different. Think about, you know, future, or, your goal, something like that. All that positive, mindset helps. Trust me, I'm telling you, it helps. It helps. That because what we do is tough, right? A lot of people can't do it. A lot of people can't be business owners, investors, so on and so forth, because we do work in a world. There's a lot of things that aren't in our control that happen. Economy, politics, could be somebody that you came across that wasn't doing business honestly. There's a lot of things that we face every day, and it can really make a person depressed, right? It really can affect a person's mental psyche. That's why you hear a lot of people, they had a business, they quit, they just went back to work. And that, you don't want to get into that. You started a business because you were happy about doing it, and you wanted to accomplish something. You started investing. You started, whatever it is you're doing. You started that because you wanted to do that, right? You had an idea. You thought that would help you make money and be happy as well, and it will, right? It's just not going to always be that way, right? It's not going to always be good. Strawberry cream and all of that, peaches on top. It's not going to always be that way. More times than not, you will have hardships and struggles, but that's again, it's part of it. Is normal. Another thing to do is be around people that are like you, like minded, that if they don't have businesses, or they're not investors, but they understand the world of business and investing. Be around people like that can help motivate you, can help say, hey, it's going to be all right. Things are going to get better. They're probably facing some of the same things you're facing, so you can talk to each other. It's definitely a lot better to be more associated when you're having hard times with people that think like you, that are doing what you're doing, that have that same mindset, than it is other times, right? I'm not saying that only hang around people that think like you or have that same mindset, but you want to double down on that when times are hard. Why? Because again, they're going to help motivate you. They're going to help lift you up, help tell you it's normal, help give you positive feedback, and you need that. You need that to keep going. Right, you're going to need those type of things to keep going. Like I said, a lot of these things, may seem obvious, but a lot of business owners, you know, um, they don't take these steps. They don't do these things, and they get overwhelmed. They get depressed. They get, maybe affects their health, anxiety, so on and so forth. And again, like I said, we're going to go through them, but it's just about how much they affect you, right? So don't worry about it. Hey, I'm going through this, I'm going through that, but some of these things that we're doing can help these situations not affect you as much. And at the end of the day, right, whatever's going on, you want to learn from it, right? So if it's something, maybe a mistake that you made, or something in the economy that you had no control over, learn from it, because it'll probably come back around again. And you'll be able to say, hey, I remember that time that I went through this, and I was able to get out of it. And then that'll help motivate you. That'll help, reassure you that you're going to get out of it again. When people are just getting started out in business, they don't see a lot of those hiccups, those obstacles, so it affects them more, like I was saying before. But those of us that have been around a little while, we see things all the time, and every time you see it, it should make it easier and easier for you to cope with it, to deal with it, because again, the saying goes that tough times never do. I'm sorry, tough times never last. Tough people do, right? So, just keep that in mind. It's gonna pass. Whatever issue that you have going on, financially, with your business, so on and so forth. It's going to pass. The economy is going to pass. New political administration, that'll pass. So, you just got to keep focused. Keep focused on what you're doing, and actually, you want to do more of it. Do more and more, because that also helps build confidence, and it helps make things a little easier for you. And also, one thing that I like to do is learn something different, learn something new. So if you're into real estate, learn about the stock market, right? So, maybe trade a couple stocks, maybe take a course. If you're in stock market, learn about real estate, learn about other businesses, increase your value, increase your knowledge, about other aspects of even just your own business, right? Read more, like we talked about. But again, that one key thing of learning more, because it takes your mind off sometimes what you're doing, and you're kind of you're not necessarily taking your focus off of it, but you're redirecting your focus at times. So if you take a class about how to trade stocks, or if you're not in, if you're in stocks, or you're in real estate, or something, or you just have a business and you're not either one of them, pick up a couple books, go to a couple meetings. They always have free meetings, Eventbrite, where you can go into, talk to people, get some different information, get some different knowledge about another industry, or another skill set that you can develop. Because first of all, you're going to need it, right? That's one thing that you learn as entrepreneurs. You always need some type of backup, some type of other type of income outside of just your business income. Diversifying, everybody's heard that. So everybody on this should understand diversifying, right? Again, maybe it's another, starting a little side business on the side, investing in stocks, investing in real estate, you know, um, selling products. It could be a world of things, but do something in addition to what you're doing. That way, you're going to build it now, and then whenever, if you ever face hard times again, you have already built something on the side that'll actually help you, at least financially, when your business gets slow again, because it will get slow again, right? We know that these ups and downs in business, they're a constant, right? It may look different sometimes, sometimes it doesn't, but they're constant. They're always going to be coming and going, coming and going, coming and going. And as you go through business, as you spend your time, you go through these years of maintaining your business, you'll find, again, they'll get easier and easier. You'll learn how to deal with them better. And because of that, you'll be happier. Your business will grow more, right? Because you stuck in there, and you realize, it's not the end of the world when things don't go exactly how I want it to. When things are tight, you can't pay your employees, you're trying to find out how to pay your bills, and like I said, we all go through it. So I'm preach to the choir, right? We all go through it, and eventually you'll gain enough experience, enough expertise that when you see those problems, they're like nothing to you at that point. And that's when your business starts becoming more and more successful. You're growing wealth more. You're growing your business more. You have more income coming in. Because why? Because you probably are doing something different, but also what you do is you learn lessons from the times that were bad, right? So that's why I'm not going to say necessarily welcome bad times or welcome hard times, but hard times help us grow, right? So just realize that you're growing, right? And as long as you keep growing, you keep learning, eventually you're going to have a successful business. You're going to have, all the things that you reach for, all the goals that you set for yourself. But the key thing here is it takes time, right? It takes time. Everybody wants it overnight, and it doesn't happen that way. You're gonna have to put your time in. You're gonna have to put your work in, and you're gonna fail many times. A lot of hard times that are gonna be, like I said, back and forth, in and out. But if you keep going, it'll pay off. The reward is great at the end, right? At the end of the road, the reward is great. But a lot of times people don't get to that, right? So I'm trying to tell you some things that can help you get to that end, where then you can look back and say, wow, I went through a lot of things, but look where I'm at, right? And again, it is just about being persistent and consistent, and to keep growing. Like I said, growing and reading is important. If you're not growing, then it's going to be hard for you to overcome obstacles that get in your way, right? Because you don't see yourself with that obstacle getting better, improving. So that obstacle basically is overwhelming you, and you don't know how to get out of it, right? So if you're learning, if you're reading, building skill sets, doing the positive things for your mindset, the exercise, all those type of things, it'll allow you to, like I said, deal with it just that much better. And it just takes a little bit. Just takes a little bit. You'd be surprised. Like in the book, what 10 feet from gold, something like that. 5 feet from gold, 3 foot from gold. I can't remember the exact title, but the book talks about, things like that. If you keep going, you keep going. What happens? A lot of people quit right before they reach the success. Right before they reach the goal, they quit, and they're so close. They're so close, and that's why you have to learn how to deal with it now, right? And as you deal with it now, you learn other ways, other tips to deal with it. You get better. You can share with other people how they can deal with it. But with the economy, with the government shutdowns and all these type of things, where it's going now, it's kind of up in the air. Everybody's basically biting their nails and trying to wonder what's going to happen. So that also makes it tough, and that's something that you can't control. But what we have to understand is that if we're doing the things that we need to do, and we're learning new skill sets, and we're keeping a positive mind, it'll pass, right? The economy will get better eventually, right? All this other stuff going on in the world will get better eventually, and if not for the world, at least for yourself, because you're gonna create your own world, right? You're gonna create, your own community where you're kind of dictating what's good and what's bad, right? And I mean that small circle of group that you people that you have, your business associates, your business partners, your family. You can create your own economy, your own world, where a lot of this stuff doesn't affect you. It probably will still affect you in some way or another, but it won't affect you like a lot of masses of the people, how it affects them, right? Because you've laid the groundwork, you've laid the foundation, you learn what it takes, and you kept going. You kept going. So just a couple words, we'll maybe talk, as it goes on, the economy, kind of moves around a little more. We'll talk some more about it. We're gonna, keep on this. We're gonna call it the health checkup, the business health checkup. And that's more for your business and for your own, mindset, your own sanity. And then, again, it'll help you develop some of those skill sets that you need to keep going. Well, before I head off here, also with your family, if you have a family, whether it's brothers, sisters, husband, wife, children, you always want to take the things that are going on with you in your business, take that out of the picture when you get around your family as much as possible. Now, it's hard to do, right? But try to forget about those things when you're with your family. Just enjoy your family. Don't, snap or be angry because things aren't going right in your business. Just live in the moment with your family. Do things that are fun. That also helps. You have to entertain yourself. A lot of times I'll play golf or shoot pool or something like that. So you want to do things also for yourself that are fun. Even that it can be with your family, it can be by yourself with some of your colleagues. So do some things that are fun, entertain yourself. But again, when you're around your family, I always learned as a business owner that when you walk through your door, shut that house, shut that hat off, shut that down, shut your business down when you walk in your door, in your front door. That way, you're not bringing your work home with you necessarily. Now, uh, that doesn't mean that we never have to, but if we have that mindset, it's not a common thing, right? You're not, taking it out on your family. You're not, neglecting your family, so on and so forth. So that's important. That's important, to be around the ones you love. And unfortunately, they're not going to always think like you do, but, just be around them and enjoy them, for the entertainment, for watching basketball, football, having barbecue, whatever, make sure you get into a lot of that too, because that helps, take your mind off things. Again, so welcome, appreciate you guys coming and joining us on the house that Ross built. Keep following us. We're going to have a lot of great guests. We're going to be talking about more about this with some experts that have been through this probably more than I have, and help other people as well. So stay tuned, follow us, and like us. Appreciate it. Peace. Continue to support our program. Like I said, leave comments, subscribe, so on and so forth. Again, the house that Ross built, we're here. We're here to help. We're here to help build. We're here to help make our community better. Peace.